Yo, what's going on?
What up?
We got a surprise guest in Kramer today. What's going on, bro?
Just hanging here, wanting to talk to some patriots about what's going on in our country and how the Biden administration is fucking it up.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Well, I think we're about to go to war. It sounds like we're about to go to war.
Yeah, to protect another country's border. Imagine that.
Which is weird because we can't even protect our own border.
Yeah. Well, we can. We choose not to, right?
Well, yeah.
We choose. I mean, think about that. What kind of impact do you think that 8,500 troops in our southern border would make in stemming the flow of illegal aliens?
Oh,
Imagine that.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, a lot of people don't understand with the southern border, the only sense of security that's happening right now is from the Texas militia.
Right.
That's it. Because the National Guard is down there, yes, but they're unarmed. And they're caught on camera helping people come into the country.
Well, they have video on Fox tonight.
As a welcome wagon.
They had video on Fox tonight talking about how they were letting out hundreds of military-aged men. These aren't families.
Right.
These aren't children. These are military-aged men that are supposed to be returned south of the border once they've been processed, and they're just letting them off into Texas. That was on Fox tonight.
Oh, is it like the video that they were showing where he's like, I'm going to Miami. I'm going here. I'm going here. They had no family with them.
Yep.
I guess we should probably talk about Kramer got banned. I'm banned.
Texas banned. My plot to take over TikTok is working well. Just kidding. Watch, my account's gone when we get off the show.
Exactly.
Right?
Damn it.
So Kramer, do you have plans on coming back?
Yeah, I'm leaving for 2 weeks on vacation. I'm going to give myself a break. I'm not doing shit for 2 weeks. When I say that, I'm not even talking to political people that I know. I told them I'm done. I've got to get a break. And primarily, and I know you guys go through the same thing. All of these creators that I talk to do the same thing, is that we're so immersed in what's going on around the world on a daily basis that if you don't pull out from time to time and reevaluate, it's a rabbit hole that'll eat you alive. And so I think that, I haven't had any drama on my end that has played out publicly. I've got some things behind the scenes that are going on, but that part of it of always being on and always looking at the next thing and watching out. I think that I was on with Shipwreck last week, and I told hers, I said, the situation is that we have a group of politicians who won't stand.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about our Republican politicians, and I'm calling them out.
And all fair, Abbott can't stand.
Oh, I mean, still early in the show.
So, I mean, like some of them literally can't stand. Like Cawthorn can't stand either. I mean,
and I would like to see eye to eye with what's his name, Dan Crenshaw, but not going to happen.
Yeah, you
can't.
Just hey, both of your eyes can focus on one of his eyes. See, we're all good. We're all good there.
He gets 200% of my attention. 200% of my attention.
See, nobody ever says you make eyes contact. You make
it's
contact.
eye. One. Yeah. Well, that's why it's called a toothbrush. Is because it was invented in Kentucky.
And that's why.
That's why he's banned, ladies and gentlemen.
You remember when we used to be able to say stuff like that and people they didn't take offense? It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me. You say something online and you'll say like, I like milk. Why do you hate water?
Right. That's literally what it's like.
Yeah. I like milk.
I get that with this hat, right? Oh, why do you hate America? Why do I have to hate America and still want us to separate?
Yeah.
Do you think that all those people that are fleeing their countries hate their country? They probably still love their country. They just want to be better off here in America. And that's why they're leaving. Because they all fly their country flag still while heading here to America.
Yeah.
So do they hate their country? No. They just want it better off. That's essentially what I'm doing.
Right.
But I don't know if I'm coming back. I'll be honest. I really don't. I'm going to take some time to make the decision, but it's just like we were kind of talking backstage, it's become like this really, I don't want to even use the word toxic because it's beyond that. Like it's just gotten dangerous.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous.
Very dangerous being on that app anymore. And it's like, and literally I'm just weighing out, like, is it worth it? You know, I mean, you got people being swatted, you got jobs being canceled, all this shit happening. Is it worth it? For what?
Oh, I mean, might like to like go and report my husband's Facebook page now and get all of like he doesn't get reported. He doesn't even do anything or post anything.
Right.
And his account is under like constant attack now. All the time. So it's kind of like it is. It's you say that it's worth it, but for the app, I don't know.
Right.
When I'm out there physically doing things, is it worth it in those moments?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like I'll always stand my ground, like never getting vaccinated. I'm not going to get COVID tested. I'm not biting into any of that. So I'm not worried about any of that. It's just like the fear of getting swatted, like seeing that shit, like that.
Right.
I mean, people die during that shit.
That's why when I don't go after creators. It's just not what I do. I'm really good at it when I do, though.
You are,
and
when I mean that's how I originally found you. When you came back just to take care of our exorcist, I was like, "Girl," he came in with some
spitting fire, and then you were like, "Man,"
just walked away, like dropped it and walked away.
That part of it, I love doing that because I look at it as a negative campaign ad, right? And having fun with somebody, poking fun at them. The issue that I said last year was that if she didn't discontinue doing what she was doing, someone's going to get hurt. Now, Jen, if you want to count her as a casualty, okay, there's that. But that is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about somebody walking up on somebody else's doorstep. Yeah. They open the door and it's all over. Right, and you've got a national news story.
Exactly.
You know, TikTok. You don't know how someone's gonna like. I couldn't imagine being in my home alone with my kids, and then all of a sudden my house is surrounded, and I don't know what I've been accused of. I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna react to that. The police doesn't know how I'm gonna react. Like everybody, it's such a high tension situation before you know what you're looking at, and they have to take those complaints seriously. I just don't understand.
I don't think they need to take him as serious as they do, though. I don't think that they need to send out a goddamn SWAT team on a report from a phone call without any kind of detail or information or intel about what's going on at that site. I mean, all it would have taken is one officer to go to Tim Pool's house and knock on the door and say, "Hey, what's going on here?" They did not have to have SWAT there, right?
Well, but it's a double-edged sword, right? Because if they don't, and there really is something, then they get in trouble. Like that's where, like, I try to find, like, for the police at least.
Well, let me ask you this: what did they do in the old days? What did they do in the old days when they got that phone call?
Did they?
A couple of officers went out and checked it out to go see what was going on. If when you get a phone call, hey, this is what's going on at this location, you got to go check it out first. You cannot show up like you know what's going on. You've got to get intel first, and you've got to get on the ground intel about what's going on at that scene before you can take all that firepower and pour it in there. It doesn't make any sense. We're in a situation where we've got a huge police state, right? So part of the problem with the George Floyd deal and these other, situations that happen is because we've got a heightened police state all the time. Now we've got a lot of crime, we got a lot of problems, right? But we've always had those, and everybody goes, well, the crime is so bad. The crime has been so low for so long, right? That when people, because working in politics, we actually look at the numbers, because when we say, hey, we decrease crime, we've got to have a citation where we did that, right? Well, we go in and we're not lowering crime anymore because it was so low. You're always going to have some level of crime. There's a point where you get it down to, and it's like COVID, right? Once you get it down to a certain level, we're always going to have it.
Yeah. No,
but now we can deal with it.
But you see, like my point is, I like we see it with school shootings, right? When they don't do enough,
right,
they get blasted.
That's a different deal, though. I think you
it is, but it isn't. It's like all a PR deal at the same time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. I would like to see, like, what was the threat there? Like, what was the information that the police received? Was it appropriate amount or was it not? I know that one of them, there was a whole dossier sent out of like some really crazy psychobabble stuff about like shooting stuff up. And if they would have taken some of her videos where she was very adamant against the person and then the threats were to the courthouse, I could kind of see how they took that one a little bit more seriously. But there's been some that I've seen where I'm like, what the hell was the complaint to even warrant that? And why do you, like what level do you take seriously at those complaints, and what don't you? You're damned if you don't.
Here's my position.
Like Cowboy says.
Here's my position is that if you treat every event like it's a mass murder scene, then that's what you'll get. That's what happened with Ruby Ridge. That's what happened with Waco.
No, you're absolutely
right. If they had just had some restraint instead of, and I support the blue. I support police. The problem that I have is that there's enough cops out there, and you know who I'm talking about. Every force has one. They're the dick on the force, and they were the kid that got bullied in school. It's their authority thing, and as soon as you question their authority,
oh yeah,
right, then it's game on.
Absolutely,
and that's wrong. That it's there's two things. There's rule of law and there's color of law. Rule of law is what we should all live by. Color of law is what politicians and police officers try to do to get you to do things. It's the law. Well, if you know your rights and you know the law, and you go, well, that's not the law. And as soon as you say that, oh my, game on. Right.
Yeah.
My cousin's a former state cop. He's a sheriff in the state of Indiana now. In fact, the county that I was born and raised in, and cool guy. He's a cool cop, right? He'll give you your opportunity. He realizes everybody has a bad day. If we had more cops like my cousin, we'd be in a much better situation. But far too many of them, and we've seen here recently. Did you see the story that came out of Loudoun County, Fairfax, Virginia, that area, that a girl was accused of prostitution. She was accused of prostitution. She said she didn't do it, that she's not a prostitute. She was a college student, yada, yada, yada. Long story short, by the time her case was done, the police chief in Fairfax and a number of his staff had been arrested for running a human trafficking ring where they were getting these young girls and saying, hey, listen, if you'll have this sex with me or sex with other people, right, we'll let you go. You don't get charged on this traffic citation.
Jesus.
Wow.
So
well, that's like that guest that we had not that long ago that was, he's like a whistleblower for his police department where he's being sexually harassed by his head.
Yeah.
I'm saying really inappropriate things to him, constantly talking about body parts. And then now he does this for other police departments, and the stories are like, but that's where predators go, right? Predators go to jobs
to power,
obviously, for power, or that they're not as expected, or where they have easy access to the victims. And what a spot, a police officer, you get vulnerable people. That's an easy victim. You get kids, you get whatever you want being a police officer.
Yeah. Well, we were talking the other day, and I was on another podcast. I can't remember which one it was, but we were discussing about it's the permission to be the bully, right? It's the permission to be bad. It's the permission to be lawless. And in the old movies, you always saw, in the Wild Wild West, if you had a ranch owner, right, and he didn't like those sheepers, and he didn't like those guys that tilled the soil, then he would send his gunmen down there and he'd run them off so he could have more range, right? Well, that never changed. Human nature has not changed. So if you've got somebody that's doing that inside a police department, and it's at the top down, then anything goes. And it doesn't take long before the people inside know that they have permission to be the bully, that they have permission to be lawless, right? So the conversation we were having is, take Capone, for example, psychotic, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if we got somebody like that in law enforcement? Or what if we got somebody like that in politics?
Oh, we do.
We do.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point.
His name was Kingsley at the time, but
never a dull moment with this one.
Then it leaks into the firefighter department with Jimmy Jones. I mean, we got it all.
It's always those positions, and have
y'all heard though? What
good people and bad people? That's what it is. It's not right, loud. It's good people, bad people, and that's it.
Speaking of lawless,
but here, I'm sorry, I'm going to jump in real quick.
No, you're good.
That the issue with that, Cat, is that we know that people are bad, right? Mm-hmm. It's when other people that see that are too afraid or too cowardly. Yeah. Now, I'm going to say coward. There's a difference between being afraid. If you fear for your life, that's one thing. If you're a coward, that means you're scared for no reason at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Other than self-preservation.
Like all the
and exactly, and that's wrong. And when you cover for someone else, that's what we're seeing happen at all levels of government. That's what COVID did for us. If there's anything that COVID did, is that opened our eyes. We were able to see. We had time off. We had time to step back from our lives of working. So many people. What is it? I got to get this saying right. So many people work to make a living that they don't have time to make a life.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so we had time for 2 weeks. At least to where we could pull back.
I don't know what fucking state you live in, but I had way longer than 2 weeks to reevaluate.
But that's what I'm saying. We all had that. We all had that initial first 2 weeks period, right, where we could see what the kids were learning at school, and we go, "What the fuck is that? What's going on with that? That's not right." Right. And then we saw what our government was doing to us. And we go, wait a minute. That's not right. Then we started seeing on the news what they're talking about with January 6th. No, that's not what happened. That's not how it happened. And they don't bring into consideration why those people were there on that front lawn anyway. Oh, don't worry about the 2020 election. But what you did on the 6th, that was the worst thing that ever happened to American democracy. Right. Wow. And all of a sudden they had time to listen to the rhetoric and to the hyperbole and all of this traffic that's being just jammed down their throat. And they go, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
Right. And over and over and over again. Well, that the situation that we're in now is we're looking at as an awakening.
Absolutely. And people I love the people that are like, just keep waiting. It's coming. No, it's here. Like,
it's
just
here.
Watch, because that's what's happening now, is that everybody collectively woke up and is realizing, hey, the government's not your friend. And I know that you forgot about the government for a while because things were good. Things were going good. I wasn't worried about anything. I was living my best life, and my biggest concern was what flavor Monster I was going to buy before work that day, or what snack I was going to grab. I wasn't worried about what was happening in Washington, D.C. That was the furthest thing from my brain, but I think it should have been on everybody's brain all the time, and it should be. And think about this, Kat. We had the opportunity, the time to do some investigation. I know that we're laymen and we can't do investigations. We're all too fucking stupid to investigate anything. I've got a funny story about that too, an epidemiologist that I talked to. But what it did is that it gave us the opportunity to put 2 and 2 together. So just think about this. What country were we talking about? And Hunter Biden going into the 2020 election. What one country was mentioned? Ukraine, right? Where is Romney's kid? Where did Romney's kids work?
In Ukraine.
Oil and gas in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Where did Pelosi's family have doings with? Oil and gas in Ukraine.
It's Ukraine. Plot twist.
Right. So then they pay Burisma or whoever, who knows who the oligarchs are over there. They pay the Biden family, let's say $10 million. Well, they just got a $200 million bump at the taxpayer expense. Now they say it's all going to military. We don't know where the fuck that money's going. Right. I mean,
they're not going to show you.
Aid is slush money. No, all foreign aid is kickback money to U.S. politicians and U.S. political families.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me that more people don't see this. They go, we're helping those people. No, you're not. Nope. You know how I know? Look at the money that was donated to the Clinton Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that money went out to actually help people? 0.
Oh, you mean like in Haiti, like it was supposed to?
Yeah.
The wedding was beautiful, though. The wedding was great. Come on.
Dress was pretty.
Chelsea's wedding was beautiful. Ghislaine Maxwell was there and looked great. Gang's all here, guys.
Great party afterwards.
Have y'all been seeing what's happening in Canada?
No.
Yeah, with the truckers?
Yes.
I missed
putting our truckers to shame. Our truckers tried to do this a couple times. So here's the stats that I've gotten so far. There's at least 110 miles of trucks coming from the west and 65 miles from the east. So you're looking at almost 200 miles of trucks. There's roughly 50,000 trucks participating in this thing. And they're going to the capital, Canada.
Yep.
And they're camping. And they're blocking roads.
They're not moving. They're shutting down the entire capital.
Is that all the countries that actually got off their asses and fought back really, really hard, all their mandates are going away too. Ireland is freer than you are. France is freer than America right now.
Finland.
they've pretty much been like, nope, COVID's not real, because they have to listen to you. If you don't shut up, they work for you. They can pretend not to, but eventually, like, you're going to get your way.
There's some bad news that goes along with that too, though. What Great Britain did, what Boris Johnson did, is he came out and said, hey, listen, we're going to lift all the restrictions. We're going to do it immediately. What he didn't tell the public, and it's been now been released, is that they are instituting a social scorecard in Great Britain.
Yeah.
So, hey, you guys can have all your freedoms. You can go do whatever you want, but you got to go do this. That's the do this little thing, and you can have all your freedoms back, right? We know in China, they have the same system in China. It will not.
I don't know.
It's not going to happen here. Let me go down the dark alley. If you want to get into the rabbit hole real quick here, we can go down it deep.
Let's jump.
One of the think tanks that I work with in DC, they've been running a series of war games, and in the last series they ran 4 war games, and in 3 of the 4 war games, it ends in kinetic action, revolution in this country, and it happens before the fall election. When you think about it, you go, yeah, that makes total sense. They're already thinking down this path, right? We're already seeing it. OSHA has dropped the mandate in the U.S. Biden administration has dropped the mandate in the U.S., but OSHA now today admitted that they're going to go ahead and just make it a rule. But they're going to withdraw it. They're not going to enforce it, but they want to work into their program. So even though it's unconstitutional, they say, hey, we're still moving forward with this, right? The situation with the war games that was really pivotal is I was kind of like,
what is that? Can you explain what that is? People who like me,
okay, so a war game is that political poli-sci people, political science people on both sides of the aisle, moderates generally, get together and they play a game, and the game is similar to Stratego or something along those lines.
I like that game.
Okay, so you're given a set of criteria, and you're on teams. Right. If you're going to play, let's play in this one, they're playing Republicans versus Democrats national. So Democrats in power, Republicans, gaining steam. And then everything that's happened in the last 2 years is what was included. The rancor of the American people, the awakening now of the moderates and the middle that are going, wait a minute, we did everything that you told us to do. And you've seen the videos on Bill Maher, right? Where the reporter from New York Times says, listen, I did everything. I still got it. Right? Yep. My life has still been destroyed. We've done all of this. We've destroyed everything, and I still got it. Yeah. So people are starting to wake up, right? And so what they do is they put these criteria or situations in place, and they'll say, okay, here's the situation. So and so has just been busted for investing in the wrong kind of stock, and it's illegal. That news comes out. Ukraine has a flood. Russia does this. And so there's all these little things that are going on all over the world, and then here in the US. And so they take all that information in and they say, based on this information, this is what the politicians will do. This is how our analyst and our strategist will work to manipulate what's going on. Here's how the media will respond. Here's what they'll say, right? Look at what's happened with Ukraine. Is anybody actually investigating the Ukraine situation? Because the president of Ukraine is saying there's nothing going on here. Russia is not a threat. We've got this handled. We don't need you. The CIA is lying to you. Your president is lying to you, is what the president of Ukraine said. And so you take all of this information together, and then they create a scenario, and then they run through the scenario. So you run through the first scenario, and then you get a bunch of results. And out of that results, you go, okay, based on that, now this happens, or we do this or do this. And we see how it runs out, and are we able to tamp down the temperature, or does it get heated up? And in 3 of the 4 last war games, they get heated up because of 2 things. It's everyone, Congressman and a senator coming forward on the floor of Congress and stating, when we win in November, day 1, we will start investigations. They're already started. This time, and this is what Ron Johnson and Jim Jordan have both said over the last 4 or 5 days. This is what's going to happen, and when it happens, you're going to jail. Or I think it was Ron Johnson said, and some are going to be tried for treason. Now, what's the penalty for treason? It's death.
Death.
Right? So do you honestly believe that these motherfucking Democrats are going to allow the elections to happen when they know that they're facing a death squad potentially for the crimes against humanity that they've committed over the last 2 years, 3 years. Do you think they're going to allow that to happen? No. So every time they react, and here's the thing, they don't react, they overreact. And that's what we're seeing right now. Every National Guard unit across the country in every state is ready to go. They're all activated. Every state. All the governor has to say is go. So we've got the barricades going up around the White House. We've got D.C. empty. There's nobody there.
There's nobody there.
No. If you wanted to attack D.C., why? There's no reason to go to D.C. to protest or do shit. There's nothing there.
No, I've seen this. There's an account that will go down there and go to all the federal buildings. I mean, and he's taking you there, and you can see, like, you can't be like, oh, it's a fake video. Like, he's there, dude. Like, he's walking around, and it's a ghost town.
That's why when I go to DC to meet people, especially, the lobbyist or whatever on K Street there, is that I always went there because it was a fun time. You go to the best restaurants, you'd run into people, and it was a networking opportunity. There's nobody there. The only people that are in DC right now are people that live in Maryland and Virginia. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. DC, that population of politicians and so on is gone, which leads you to, ask the following questions. Why does Biden, the president of the United States, the most powerful man on the face of the earth, why is he not using the White House as a backdrop for his power to show how powerful he is? Because that's what it's always been utilized in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Why doesn't he utilize the White House at all?
He doesn't live
at
there.
All. Like his press conferences, when he ever actually does them, he's never in the White House.
No.
Anytime he does any sort of appearance, he's never at the White House.
The only thing that changes is the image in his window green screen of his.
Oh, yeah, because they got to match the seasons.
Yeah, they got the nose in the background. I'm like, yeah,
I really think we're that stupid.
Well, and no one has answered yet. How the fuck did a plane fly over the White House? And not just a plane, a jet.
And then to have Jen Psaki react to it like, oops, that's no big deal, guys. Like,
no, what the fuck? That happens every day.
Well, because they might not have been in the White House.
I don't think they were. You can't fly over the White House.
Who knows? That's
why doesn't the press? I mean, obviously we know, this is obviously a loaded question, but why the fuck doesn't the press answer on this? Like even Peter Doocy, why isn't he asking these same questions? Why aren't you in the White House? Why aren't you doing this?
Asked about the backdrops and why so many backdrops and why they're doing it a certain way that he doesn't get answers. And Peter has asked that one. He asked it. It was a while ago. It was a few months ago, but I remember him bluntly asking.
It was before Joe Biden called him a son of a bitch.
Yes, it was before Joe Biden called him a son of a bitch. That's a flex. If you triggered Joe Biden to call you a son of a bitch on live TV, you fucking made it.
Yeah. That's a notch in your belt, right?
But is it a flex? Because Joe Biden ain't all the way there. I feel like it doesn't take too much to get
Joe Biden is the best thing we got on our side right now. Have you? How many dementia patients have you dealt with?
A lot.
Right? He's going to fucking lose it. They can't control dementia patients. No. There is a moment. A great example is Glenn Campbell, right? Glenn Campbell, when he was at the last days of his dementia before he really lost it, and they took him off out of the public scene, he would be the nicest guy to you 1 minute and then turn and just go evil and ready to fight you. What are we seeing from Joe?
Right? Exactly. He reminds me of so many of my patients, and I've laughed and told Tex this, and Tex laughs. I'm like, but I'm kind of not kidding though. There's certain times that they have him speak, and the later on in the day that it is, the more crotchety he kind of gets towards the evening. And we all know about sundowners, and
it's pudding time.
And he's always lost. He's always either angry or lost. There's really very rarely those moments anymore where he's, for fuck's sake, the most coherent speech that man's done with power, no stumbling, perfectly done like old school Joe Biden. Was an hour rant of him talking shit about Trump.
Yep. That's all I got.
No. He spoke very clearly when he uses the Negro word.
Yeah. He really gets very clearly when he gets racist.
Right. Yeah, when he's talking about Sturgill being the best Negro baseball player of his time.
Yeah.
He spoke very, very clear. When he gets racist, he is extremely clear.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the issue. Right. And I keep saying this, we've got a ton of issues, but what Democrats are able to do is they're able to justify everything that they do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
from
not just politicians, from your voters too.
Yeah, everybody, right? They do not see the role that they're playing. Right before I got kicked off of TikTok, one of the things that I asked was, if you've ever asked yourself what role you would play, what side of history you would be on?
Yeah.
Because you're on that side right now. Right. You've chosen your ground. And what we have is we have a group of people in this country that think that you have to react because they feel in fear. And that's a dangerous place to be. We keep talking about democracy. Democracy is dangerous. Our founding fathers knew that. That's why we're a republic. This talk about getting rid of the filibuster, right? It was supposed to be a democracy in the House. That's why a majority, right? 50 plus one wins.
Mm-hmm.
The Senate was long thinking. You couldn't do rash decisions. You had to be slower thinking. It was a simmering pot. It wasn't a boiling pot like the House is. The Senate is a simmering pot, right? You're supposed to keep the temperature.
Remember the debates? Like there used to be real coming together and debates on the floor, and they would go all night and they all really cared. Yeah. And now none of them even show up to work.
Well,
they're scared to care. You know what I mean? I think they might have cared.
They can't show up to work because, COVID.
Right. Well, I think that I think that
I'm so done with COVID.
What the Democrats have done over the last 40 years is they've pushed so far left, and they've identified so many people in their groups. So we're talking about it today. Look at what's happening on TV. And first of all, let me say, I don't have any problem with this, but it's racist. When I say that, it sounds like an oxymoron, right? You can't have both going at the same time. Okay. If you watch TV today, there are no white actors on TV. In the commercials.
I am seeing an alarming, I've
been watching Yellowstone. Like that's all white. Like now I just got into season 4 and there's one black guy. Just happens.
But the TV commercials and the shows that are being produced, they're all white. And the reason I say I don't have a problem, they're all black, or they'll have the perfect homogeneous family, right? It's an Asian dad, a black mom, and mixed children.
Yes,
that probably adopted. Right. And one's gay, one's handicapped. Right. They're
the other one's non-binary.
Right. One converted to Islam. The other one converted to Judaism. It's a really mixed family.
And one of them probably has like DID. That seems to be trending big time on TikTok, like multiple personality disorder. Yeah, I found my way out of that side of TikTok, and I'm like, get me the hell out of here. Like, get me out of here now. Mental health TikTok is scary.
Well, what's funny about that situation and the conversations that come out of those meetings. So I've been in those meetings with advertisers that say, "Yeah, we've got to get a black female in our commercial. Now, here's what we need to do. We need to have a cattle call and have them all brought in. And by the way, this is generally white women.
Yeah,
right, white women, liberal.
Dude,
white
they're the
women.
worst.
Yep." We need a person of color in our commercial. Okay. What do you heavy? Fat? Do you need them lean? What are you looking for? Well, we'll get you the criteria. But here's the thing, and I swear to God, they say it a different way every time, and it's racist as racist can be. Basically, what they want these agencies, they want a person of color that is dark enough to be considered a person of color, but light enough not to be seen as a threat.
Yeah.
Now, why did that roll off my tongue so quickly? Why was I able to say that so clearly?
That's the verbiage that they use.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Spot on. That's racist. And when you call them out for it,
hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
But mind you, though, the left is always allowed to be racist. Always.
But they're doing it for they're doing it for them. Text.
Well,
doing
of course.
It for them. It's for their own good.
If you're loud about racism, it makes you seem like you're wanting change, right?
Right.
But in the deep down, you're really racist too most of the time. This is why a lot of us on the right like Denzel Washington's approach when it comes to racism. Just don't talk about it.
Right.
Like,
well, that's what I had a
Morgan Freeman.
A
Well, but
former
like
client-
corporate does the same thing, right? I think Ant talked about this. Is that they have like an inclusive training
right.
when they're already inclusive. Like
Yep.
you can't go into a corporate America anywhere and not see some sort of inclusiveness.
Right.
And they still train it like we're not inclusive. That way they can keep the problem at the forefront and keep us divided.
But
That sentence is like messing with my head, like, but not dark enough to be a threat. Like that's really fucked up that anybody's brain would even go there.
By the way, I just got a report and that Wisconsin has withdrawn 10 of their electors.
Wow.
Yeah, I heard something crazy was going on in Wisconsin with the election shit. And I'm like, wait, what? Because I haven't been following a lot of that anymore. I really don't know where to follow it. I'm kind of like, you stole my bike and I'm moving on. You know what I mean? Like, I know you stole my bike. You can say you didn't steal my bike, but you stole my fucking bike.
That's why the 22 elections will not happen. They will not go off. I keep saying it. They cannot allow it to happen.
How are they going to stop us? Though? Like, what do you like? What?
Well, we've got a rabid monkey running around the Midwest somewhere.
Yeah,
right
what
now.
the fuck is that?
I mean, we got
is that the one that got into the
outbreak.
No, like a truck full of monkeys.
Right. The one that got
right after they found like a 4,000-year-old board game that they dug up and they're trying to learn how to play now. Like, stop touching shit.
And the mummy that they opened up to the
yes.
Oh, I saw.
Now the woman with the monkeys is quarantined because
she's quarantined because she's sick.
So
it's
now
like that movie Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman.
Outbreak.
You know, it's that movie Outbreak. It's the same exact storyline.
And then they just announced a new COVID variant today too. COVID Omicron B2 is the new one.
So we're out of names. We're just gonna like B2, B5.
B3,
like,
Well,
we're gonna bingo it.
Yeah, they'll change the name after like 4 or 5 more strains, but
C5 got it. Bingo.
Yeah, got it.
Bingo.
Well, we're on B2 and I still like knock on whatever. I haven't caught the vid yet.
Well, and here's the thing. You could have it. You could have already caught it and been passed and didn't even know you had it, right?
Right.
Especially for Omicron. I had it. My wife had it. It's been, it was a head cold. Lost our taste and smell. It's starting to come back for me. She's a little bit behind me on that. But, it wasn't. Okay, so I'll tell you what happened over the weekend. I mean, it's just we're at that age, 56, where we went to 2 funerals over the weekend. One was from an 82-year-old woman, natural causes. She had COVID when she died, but she had dementia and they knew she was going. And so it was a matter of time, right? But we went to another one where the guy was 61 years old and get there and they want you to wear a mask because he died of COVID. End up talking to the wife. He had a heart attack with COVID. I said, well, why are we wearing the masks? Well, but for everybody's safety. What? He didn't even die of COVID? I'm not wearing this fucking mask.
Even if he did.
He's dead. Right. And everybody goes, well, she goes, it's for, protecting everyone else. And I go, Lori, I said, they don't have, the masks don't work. Haven't you read any of this?
And he's probably been dead for a week.
At least he was. Well, he was dead a week.
That's what I'm saying. So now, like COVID, who cares?
Yeah, but the nursing home that I worked at, even with COVID, the family could not be there as they were actively dying, but they could come in right afterwards to clean out their room, even if they were still in their room.
Yep.
How does that?
It was crazy to me, and this is one of the things that I just laughed about. I just cracked up because of what I do. And I know the logistics of what it takes to do some of this stuff, right? You've got a guy on a ventilator, or not on a ventilator. You've got a guy on a machine, and he's got oxygen being pumped in. He's propped up. He looks like shit. They've got him all bubble, all ballooned up, man. He's just got stuff coming in and out of him everywhere, right? And he's now. The reason I know that picture is because I saw the video of it. And the interview that he did. Meanwhile, his family can't go in to talk to him, but the media can to tell you how bad he is. That's when I knew this was bullshit. Because what they were trying to tell us is that there's a different set of rules and there's a different level of safety or threat if you're telling a story that they want you to tell. If you're on their team, you can do whatever you want, and goes back full circle to what we've seen on social media, in particular on TikTok, is that if you're part of a certain ideology, you can do and say whatever you want.
Whatever
Now,
you want.
the benefit is, and again, I don't get into it. I don't, I hear about it and I laugh about it, but like the thing with Tizzy, I have no idea what he said. I know it was supposed to, I don't know.
That was
About
like
sex.
a stitch. I mean, it's hard to follow all of that stuff.
I know.
It really is. But
The
like,
thing
you're
with
kind of forced
Tizzy-
to. But Tizzy was like,
So
that was the whole vibe when that thing happened. Like,
I've heard two extremely horrific descriptions
yeah,
videos. One was at me, and then one was Tizzy. Like horrific. Like
Right.
the one for me was Thomas, the black guy, and he went like 3 minutes, gruesome detail about how I should die.
yeah, that was messed up. That one
Right.
was screwed up.
I should get beat, till
Yeah.
I'm about dead, get into the hospital, get ready to get come back home, getting healed up, get beat again, and like it was horrific.
And I reported it. Text. I mean, we reported that one. That's gonna get reported. You are in
Right.
detail. Come on, dude. No violations.
None.
Yep. But you get reported for
It was
bullying
the
and
same with
harassment.
Tizzy.
Tizzy,
Tizzy
like,
was the same way.
the way that he talked to the woman that he spoke to, Alyssa Mulatto, the way that he spoke to her, no one should speak to anyone that way.
Talk about her legs coming behind her and lather
and
her
like
up with
slathering herself. It was
animal
horrific.
fat. I mean,
And then his behavior
is-
towards minor children, and it was just kind of like, he's gone now, though, right? I haven't seen.
he's
I
on
don't
a
know.
break. He's not like gone. He's just on a break.
He got
And this is-
colonized.
and there,
So
yeah,
the two boys left. So like Modern Warrior and Tizzy left. Like, are they all friends? I'm not
Yeah.
getting
Yeah, they are.
Supposedly
they
they
are.
are.
not asking
they are
details.
friends.
Staying out of it.
Right. Well,
This
my-
is
my
why.
point-
This is why I say like this kind of rhetoric is exactly why I'm hesitant on coming back. Just because it's
Yeah.
like, is it worth it? I mean, this dude made a 3-minute video, and I'm not a victim by any means, but about killing me,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and TikTok was okay with that. But I make a video.
Well, Tex, if you don't think that everybody's had that thought about you from time to time, I think
Oh,
you're
I
being
already
a little
know
bit.
that. Yeah, I
So
totally
true.
understand that. Like that's why it doesn't offend
My
me.
head over and over and over.
But the fact that like TikTok allows that video,
Right.
and I say something. I made a video. I think it was for Rebel Fox one time, just being funny, and didn't even cuss, didn't call no names. It got removed. Oh, I did a duet of her the other day. Of her, we were talking about, or she was talking about filing FOIAs for schools and whatnot. All I did was duet it. It got taken down for bullying and harassing.
Mhm.
She didn't say one bad word in there. She didn't call no names. She just said, "Hey, here's what you can do too. Here's what I've done in my school." Like it was a good informational video.
Well, let me ask you this. So this is what I'm interested in finding out. So when I came onto TikTok, it was basically as a fluke. I came on. There was no intention. There was no plan whatsoever. When the first video took off, it's like, okay, well, I'll play around with this. It's fun. What we saw it as is how fast you can grow organically, the amount of attention you can get within a very short period of time.
Mhm.
I've had my account on Instagram for the exact same amount of time that I've had my account on TikTok. On Instagram, I think I'm at 18.5 or something like that.
Yeah.
So very slow to grow on Instagram, right?
Very. It's hard to grow on
TikTok
Instagram.
blows up overnight, but then we went back and looked at it, and guys, over half of the followers that you have on your account are bots.
They're bots.
They're not even
I
people,
totally believe that.
Yep.
Yeah.
you know. So we looked at that, and those bots are doing certain things in the background. We can see the mechanics of what they're doing. So
We were
what's
talking about this
funny-
in Indiana a little bit.
Yeah, it's what we look at it as is a mechanism, right? So what you're doing right here is one step. What we look at it as, and that's why, in the last account that I had, you notice I wasn't giving any news stories anymore,
Yeah.
right? If the information is going to go up and come back down and then get the account deleted, it doesn't make any sense. What makes sense is to create content that drives people off to other sites to where you can talk freely. Right.
Mhm.
That's been the problem, though, is that we've got a ton of people that want to stay on that app. and they agree with what we're saying, and they say they want to do more. But that dancing video is just more important than going offline to read a story about why they should be more involved in their local school board meetings.
Statement right there. That's an absolute yeah.
So that I think that when truth comes out, I think you're going to see a mass migration. I hope it's got a better response than Getter does. We've tried them all. We've been on Clapper, CloudHub, Getter, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, Discord.
Yeah.
On the new site, we're going to link to all of those accounts because we can't do it on TikTok. In fact, my name, Kramer Says, right? You can't put it in anything. It's banned.
The name is? You can't. Yeah, I can't even tag Tux on Instagram. Instagram's like, fuck that guy. As soon as I go to write his name, it won't pop up. I'm like, Jesus.
Yep. So we've got truth coming out. We hope that that helps. We're working on
working with the team platform, right? You were saying,
yeah, and so there's a whole series of things that are going on. So we're in conversations with, we are working with Tusk, which is a web browser. It's the first step in their ecosystem, and basically what Tusk allows you to do. And if you haven't signed up, go sign up now. Everybody says, "Well, why are you having me sign up?" It's so we can alert everybody on one day that it's there for download, so we can get media attention for all the downloads that are happening. So it's a marketing ploy. We're not going to utilize the email. You can use a shitty email. We don't care. We're only going to use that email twice. Hey, it's coming up. We're releasing it on this date, and today's the day. That's it. So what Tusk allows you to do is pick and choose where your news comes from. So you choose the sources of your news feed instead of letting Google or Bing or Yahoo do that for you. You choose what that is. The browser doesn't track you if you don't want to be tracked. Now, if you want relevant search, right? You want the plumber in your area. Yeah, you've got to tell the system where you are, right? But you can do that one time for that search, and then it stops tracking you after that search. So there's a number of different things that it does. There is data compiled. The data is usage data. And here's the big thing. Even DuckDuckGo doesn't do this. We will never sell. When I say we, Tusk will never sell your personal data. That's important.
That's
right?
very important.
They never, ever. So their monetization model is a different model. Theirs is access to the data, but you never get it, right? Mm-hmm. Everything is done internal. So when you want to go buy a group of people, that's what happened with that deal with Facebook during the 2016 election, where it was what was that group out of England that got busted for hijacking Facebook's? I can't remember their name. Anyway, that is impossible. You can't do that with Tusk.
Right.
Then the second portion of it is, and this is probably most important, is the search engine. Currently, they're on the backbone of Yahoo. They have what Yahoo delivers, but they're manipulating what Yahoo has to be able to make the information for each person relevant. When they get their own search engine and their own infrastructure, which Trump is doing currently, they built out their new system. They can't be shut down by AWS. You can utilize the service through an app on your phone. If the app gets turned off, then you can go directly to the website. You don't have to go, it's just like DuckDuckGo. You can either go through their app or you can go directly to the website. So that's the second part. The third part, and this is what I find most, and what I'm involved with most on a daily basis, is helping build out their social media platform. And what that ecosystem is going to be like. So they're developing a YouTube-like product, does the same exact thing, and the social media part of it will be a combination. I like how they've set it up. It's the best of TikTok, the best of Twitter, the best of Facebook, but it's not all of the fucking flipping through shit like you have to do on Instagram.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you know how insane that is. So I've been on Instagram. I've got a ton of followers, and I still have no idea the difference between a post, a story. I know what a reel is, right? There's too much stuff going on.
That. Yeah. And how come you can't post longer than 3 minutes? Because at one time I could, and now I can't anymore on Instagram.
You can't. You should be able to on a regular post, just not on a reel.
Yeah, reel is a 1 minute. It's like a.
So Kramer, I do have a question about the truth social media. So I was initially all on board with the truth, social media, but the latest reports I'm kind of a little leery on. And here's why. One, because Trump is using an app by Silicon Valley's AI company.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that he's getting involved with Silicon Valley because we all know how they are. But he's using this AI to moderate sexually explicit content. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Posts that include violence, bullying, hate speech, and spam.
Okay, here's the thing.
There's got me.
Like,
well,
what
they had
consider bullying and hate speech? Because I got PTSD from TikTok, bro. I see.
Right.
I go back.
Here's the thing. They have to. To be on the App Store and to be in the marketplace or whatever they call that on Android. Excuse me. To do those two things, you have to have those things in place. They have to work. They have to do their thing. But it's like a slot machine, right? A slot machine can be set to be where you can win 50% of the time, or you only get a 1% chance of ever winning against that machine. Mm-hmm. We assume that it's going to be that case. There is a situation where you have to be very cognizant of potential threats, like what happened with you, right? The ability to deal with that effectively. My understanding is that the way that the reporting system is going to be done is different than what they've done on TikTok. On TikTok, they've done here's the thing. Why is it that you can go report someone without blocking them? Why shouldn't it be the first thing you do is block them? Right. If you haven't blocked them, you shouldn't be able to report against them. And if you've reported against them without blocking them, that means they're not a big enough problem. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, now why can you block them and then them still come across your FYP?
Yeah, what the hell is that?
Generally
they're on somebody else's account. They're not on
your
account.
No.
I have people blocked.
You click on their name and it goes to their account and it shows blocked.
But there's
the account that you blocked them. Yep.
I'm like, this is weird. Like,
very common now.
We're mutually blocked, but you're all over my For You page. So what's going on?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird because I have
three creators.
I have a certain list of people that like I always block right away from just not. I don't have anything against them. I just don't like their content, which is fine. Right. And then all of a sudden, like I'll start and I'm like, I know I blocked this person. Like Brianna, let's say, is one who I block constant and. So she'll come across my FYP and I'm like, I've blocked this broad. So I'll go and click on her profile to make sure I did. And I can't view anything, but I can see her video all in its full. I can't see the comments. I can see how many comment. I can see how many shares and all that stuff, but her video still comes across.
On it, can't share it. It's like a glitch where TikTok's like, oops, you're not supposed to see this, but you're seeing it. Yeah, there was a theory for a while that they were sponsored videos, but I think that kind of got debunked.
Well, but then they say sponsored on them when they're sponsored videos.
Right, because they'll say sponsored. And then other people are like, that's what happens when they unblock you. It gets them thrown back into your algorithm if they're constantly unblocking you.
Right.
And then going to your page.
Right.
And the algorithm would start showing them to you because it's like an algorithm.
Right. You're looking out their material. Well, that's the point I've been trying to make for a long time is that if I block you, you can't see my shit. But you're making accounts or you're getting your friends, and we know that that's happening. We the troll that I'm dealing with right now. That's one of the problems that we have. Is that I've taken every measure I can. That's what I told the judge. I said, listen, I've taken every measure that I can.
Yeah, because you're currently like dealing with legal matters now because of shit.
Right. So I'm sitting there trying to get a restraining order. Here's the deal. Here's the reason we're getting the restraining order is that this person is a fiduciary. You can't have a restraining order and be a fiduciary. They're in banking.
Okay.
So they can't have a restraining order against them and work at the bank.
Yeah.
So what I tried to do everything possible. I was nice about it. I've never responded. And if you guys know, I don't do that. I don't go after people.
No, you're not like a class act creator.
No. I just don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me. Here's the reason. And I wish people would understand this. If more people on these platforms would understand this, right? When I worked in radio, we would have people call all the time. The request line was always ringing, ding, 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 always. And you pick it up and, yeah, I want to hear this song. And yeah, okay, thanks. Well, we played that 5 minutes ago. Yeah, but I just started listening. So play it next. Okay, whatever. What we realized was through research is that only 2% of our audience calls us.
Wow.
Of all the millions that I've broadcast to, only 2% ever calls. 2%. Wow. So if only 2% are calling and you're basing anything on what they have to say, unless they're calling up for the weather, hey, do you know what's going to be like next week? I don't have a newspaper. This is back in the old days, right? When you actually had to do that shit without a phone. Right. But when are you guys
sounds like America, though?
Say that again.
This just sounds like America. The 2% or the 13% or whatever percent that's down below, minorities, LGBT, they get the most voice.
Well, because they're the squeakiest wheel.
Right.
Right. So that's why my wife asked. We've got this thing where I ask her these really strange sexual things. Right. So can we do this with a goat and then and a bucket of tar, and then we're gonna have just make it obscure and just as long a list as I can
and as crazy as you can make.
Yeah. And then and then we're gonna have a baseball cap full of cottage cheese by the bed. Awesome.
Yes. Have to.
Are you into that? And she always says no. And my comment is, well, you never know unless you ask. Because that's the people who take action, the people who ask, right, are the ones who get things done. The ones who are the squeaky wheel, the ones who are the loud voice, get things done. And that's what I keep saying. Us on the right, the reason that we haven't been loud, we have jobs. The reason we haven't gone to protest, we have jobs. The reason that we can't be involved during the week is because we work. We've got our kids in school. Well, you've got so many people that their whole persona is wrapped up in being an advocate. They don't care how poor they have to live because their virtuousness is by what they're doing. For example,
at some point, us on the right have to start making time to fight back. Like the fact we went to Indiana, we traveled all the way across the country on a weekend, so there really was a whole lot of excuses with plenty of time in advance, and literally nobody showed up.
Yep.
Like there's no excuse. I've had people when we put on rallies like out here during the summer for the Freedom 515. Oh, I'd love to come, but I got to go boating instead. Oh, you have to go boating. You can't set 2 hours aside, come and support people, and then go back and boating because you can do both.
Well,
I love that Ant brought that up in Texas too. Where he's like, and it's the most frustrating because those are the creators that get like screamed at constantly for doing nothing. Are the ones who are really trying to do something, but nobody wants to. Like, you got to come with us. Like, we can't do it by ourselves, and you have to come with us.
I think that it goes back to pain, right? Everything that we do in our lives is based on pleasure or pain. Mm-hmm. Either it feels good or it hurts. And so your buddy going boating, well, that's fun. That feels good. But he doesn't have enough pain in his life yet to say, I have to do without the pleasure for the time being.
That's why you see it overseas.
Right. That's why you see it in
Canada. Not seeing it here. It's going to be too late.
No, it's not going to be too late. It's not going to be too late. I don't think it's going to be too late. And the reason
I don't think so either
is we, the largest armed, we the people, all W's, are a capital W, capital T, capital P. We the people are the largest standing army on the face of the earth. Mm-hmm. That's just our vets. Our vets. We are the largest standing army on the face of the earth. You take in guys that didn't serve, like myself, right? Mm-hmm. You take in other people that would be willing to help with logistics or whatever else. That's why we don't get fucked with.
Well, that's why I say too late, though. I say too late because we could prevent it from getting there if we got active now. Yeah, that's where I say it's too late is when we go into war.
But at the same time, like, what if we need this part to happen though in order to be truly I don't think that America has been truly free in our lifetime. We've never known true freedom the way that they say. America's so free, it's so free. But is it? Is it really? If you really look at it,
there's certain aspects.
I have an old man that I'm friends with, and his granddad served, his dad served, he served, and now his kid has served. Each one of them, all four of them in different generations, have gone away to war to fight freedoms and came back with less freedoms.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's because, and again, it's because of our life. Put it this way, right? If city council comes through in your city and puts a new tax on apples, right? If you don't like apples, do you give a shit?
Nope.
No.
If it doesn't affect you personally, then you don't generally give a shit, right? That's why you'll see George Floyd got murdered in front of a group of people who watched it.
Nobody did anything. I always wondered why.
Right. Nobody physically stepped in. There was only 2 cops.
I thought it was very poetic that 2020 started. The insurrection started with George Floyd's death. Mm-hmm. Right? That process started. Mm-hmm. That's where it began. And so the way the way I look at things is this. It started with a white cop murdering an unarmed black man, mm-hmm. and ended with a black cop murdering an unarmed white woman. That's what happened between 2020 and 2021. Chauvin is in jail, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. I can't remember the other guy's name in DC. See, that tells you, because I just haven't paid attention because they won't talk about him.
No, they don't. They're not talking about him.
You're talking about the insurrection, Ashley Babbitt?
Yeah. He's walking the streets free. We've got a police officer who accidentally shot a perpetrator in a felonious act. She accidentally pulled her gun instead of her taser. She's looking at 15 years. Meanwhile, Alec Baldwin is walking around free.
No shit.
Both accidental shootings.
Rebel, no, it was good. It was still fun. And like, I love that our group still made that shit work in Indiana. And we just walked down the street instead. And I love the way that it turned out, especially.
I think we should have started drinking earlier.
Definitely. We should have done it at the bar and then made our way back to the bar.
Less protesting, more drinking. Maybe we would get more protesting done if we did more drinking first. That's what you got to do. That's why they shut down the churches and the bars, right? Is because
they do.
They didn't. That's where the revolution.
That's where revolution starts.
You know, that's where they always start. Is go. Yeah, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off. Let's go fucking burn something, right? Let's take our freedoms back. To your point, Tex. Here's why I think you're wrong.
Here's all the reasons that you're wrong, Tex.
Well, here's the reasons you're wrong. It's a different way of looking at it.
Sure.
If we all stood up right now and said we're not going to do this, what do you think the reaction is going to be? Do you think they're going to go along with it?
No.
They haven't so far. They keep pushing. There's a reason why they're doing.
I'm not aware though, because like there have been some with COVID that, I mean, like just because I know about it, like out here in Texas. So when Hot Wheels closed down everything back March of 2020, some hairdressers decided, fuck Hot Wheels, opened up anyways. And it created this avalanche of him having to withdraw that mandate now of shutting down salons. And then Hot Wheels opened up the salons and whatnot. And then it took a whole coalition of, so out in Texas, they call them 51.
By the way, I just figured out that Hot Wheels is Abbott.
Yeah,
correct?
Yeah, it's Abbott.
What the fuck does Hot Wheels have to do with this?
Texas pet name for him.
So I mean,
okay, I'm on board now. I'm on board.
So they actually do, like, I wouldn't say like if we all just revolted, I think the government would, depending on how many got involved, right? So it literally took one hairstylist in Texas, and then it started like an avalanche, a snowball effect of other salon, because one decided to have the balls to stand up, and she did it courageously, and then others started to where the government didn't have any control anymore. So he didn't have any other options but to, okay, I'll open you guys up.
But we're not talking about we're not talking about Hot Wheels. We're talking about the Biden administration,
Mhm.
Obama, because that's who's running everything. I mean, Jen Psaki let the cat out of the
Jen
bag. a couple
Psaki
of
said
days
it
ago.
out loud.
We all knew the story, right?
Right.
She's so excited to work with President Obama. I mean, Biden, because she was never part of the Biden. She was never part of the Obama administration. There's no reason for her to ever address
she was.
Obama in any.
Yes, she was.
Yeah, she was.
She was the press secretary assistant or something like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
she was.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
she
okay,
was.
okay, she wasn't a-
It's
she
still,
wasn't a
it's
prep
still a
person. Okay,
weird
I stand
blunder,
corrected.
though. It is still a weird blunder when
Right.
she's part of the Biden administration.
I don't think she was there long, but she was there.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I have
she
never.
was
I
wearing
have
a
never.
pink fuzzy communism hat. You've never seen her in the pink
Exactly.
fuzzy communism.
That tells you everything you need to know, right?
Yeah.
So the thing that is happening, and the reason why I don't think that there's a way to peace, is that the left is becoming more militant. There's no if let's look at what happened with COVID in just the last 3 weeks. All of the information that came out, how much of it was lies, how much of it was misinformation, so much misinformation that a justice sitting on the Supreme Court was woefully unprepared to be a part of that case.
Yeah.
She had
Well,
no
and
idea what the fuck she was talking about.
Then went and had beers with them.
Yeah. You know, I mean,
Same night.
so
Could this be even more of a greater setup? I mean,
well, it's we know what the determination is going to be because everything is down a partisan line, right? So
Right.
if tomorrow aliens landed on the face of the earth, there's going to be a group that is pro-alien and anti-alien, right?
Mhm.
If a sea creature comes up out of the ocean and
Oh,
walks out and says and starts talking, you know, it's a mermaid,
Yeah,
or a mermaid,
here we go.
right? Right?
Mhm.
Our
There's
show.
going to be pro merman and there's going to be pro. Well, I mean, we're seeing it right now, right? We're
There's going to
seeing
be
the-
people that literally are going to be like, get them out of our country. They're not
Yeah,
like, there's going to be
real
those
illegal
guys.
aliens, you know, right? Or you know, well,
Oh,
so
boy.
we're so politicized in the country, and the reason is because the left has to put everything into a box, and when you
Yeah.
put everything into a box and everything is a monolith, there's no wiggle room, right? You can't be, and I'm going to use this term loosely. In their mind, a racist is the worst thing you can be. In
Yeah.
their mind, a fascist is the worst thing that you can be.
Mhm.
In their mind, right? Democracy is the most important thing on the face of the planet. These are some of the truisms that they like to preach.
Yeah.
But then when you go and look at what they do, they don't practice what they preach. I'm working on a documentary right now that is talking about meritocracy and these idiots in these colleges and these universities saying that, well, if you get, for example, if you get some land, have an advantage over text, for example. Did you get that? Nobody got that. That just landed
No,
so
it
dead.
froze.
No, you froze.
Your video froze.
You
So
froze.
Oh, sorry. So what I was saying is that some of us are blessed with good looks, some of us aren't. That is a benefit, right? And so
Yeah.
I was trying to be nice about it.
Now that it came all the way through, well, like right before you said it, you froze.
yeah.
So well, that was the universe stepping in, saying it's going to piss him off.
No,
My point is that they think in their mentality, if you're good looking, you have a benefit. You have a talent or capability that is over someone else, right? So if you go for a job where they're going to hire the good looking person before they hire the ugly person, right?
This is the debate that I always have when it comes to racism.
And that's what it is.
Actually, I'm like, well, stats say tall people get the job
Do
before
what?
short people.
Yep.
So what do we do there? Like, there's
Yep.
always discrimination, no matter what we do. Like,
Yep.
I mean, like I used to sell cars, right? And when I first started selling cars, they made me be clean shaven because
Right.
the psychologies that men with facial hair, a lot of people in sales will make it seem like they're hiding from something. That's why they got
Right.
facial hair. So they would make you shave facial hair. So I couldn't get even hired on until I shaved. It was like,
Wow.
I can't
Did you see-
picture you like clean shaven. I can't. Like,
I'll do it tomorrow.
Did you see the military, the Department of Defense? I can't remember what her name was. Told an HR person, she's a lesbian, right? She's out. That for her to have her position, she needs to begin looking more feminine. Now, I thought the military was woke. right? There is no gender, right? There, if either, see, I look at these things as the Bible. Either you believe in them 100%, or you can't believe in them at all.
Agree.
Right. So if that's
no
the
longer
case,
a car salesman.
well, but now you can be a politician.
Yeah.
You gotta practice. Same thing.
Well, so the thing with lost my excuse me, I lost my place. The thing with I lost my place. I don't know where it's going.
The military being more effeminate.
Oh, well, the military being more effeminate and being woke is that what we've been saying for a while is starting to happen, right? We've withdrawn from interacting with a ton of these people. For example, if we all withdraw, if conservatives just said, fuck it, we're done with TikTok, we're going to leave for 6 months, what would happen to that platform over that 6-month period? It would implode.
No.
Because they would feed on themselves, right? They would have to start attacking each other. That's what I thought was funny. And that's why I don't do the attack videos.
Yeah.
It gives me the moral high ground, number one. But number two is it's a waste of time. It doesn't do anything. It's like screaming at windmills. I don't care what you fucking think. If I knew you in person, I wouldn't give two shits what you think.
Sometimes it's really fun though.
I wrote the bill.
So
I just feel like sometimes people need to be told that they're a dumbass. Like a little bit.
Well, you know what drives them more crazy?
But I'm even scared to be a normal call-out video these days because people are like, I'm going to show up to your house and ruin your whole fucking life. And it's like, whoa, okay.
Well, I had that happen in radio, right? I had a stalker in radio 20 years ago. And so I just don't engage. I get nothing from it. There's no upside for engaging with someone who is, who has an agenda that no matter what you do, you'll never be right. It's like I don't have a relationship with my mom or my parents, my family at all, because in particular, my mom is one of those people that if I cured cancer tomorrow, instead of saying congratulations, what a great job, she's that type of person that would say, look at all the oncologists you just put out of work.
Right.
You've just killed the cancer industry. Right. And so you can't win. You can't win with that type of person. Yeah. And then when you take half of their brain away, and they become a Democrat, it's like arguing with a 5-year-old drunk. they can't get off and see it from a different point of view. And that's why I think that a lot of stuff that we put together is so cutting, is because we don't come at it head on. Ours is always asking the question from the backside, or we call it entering the back door, is looking at a situation and saying, okay, how many, well, I'll give you an example. One of the videos that took off that I did was asking a simple question. How the fuck do we get to herd immunity utilizing drugs that don't offer immunity? Right. Very simple thought. Right. Everybody's talking about get the vax. It's safe. It's safe. Okay. Well, what's the end goal of a pandemic? It's herd immunity. But we can't get there. Well, and this is what I scream and yell at journalists. Today, journalism is not journalism. It's copy and paste.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So
first to get a headline, though.
Well, and it's not just first to get a headline, but to fill, they have to write something. They have to make something. So a few months ago, I got into it with a reporter from NPR and got into a Twitter war with him because we were looking at that story about that guy that got kicked out of 40-some hospitals down in Mississippi. Because they were overwhelmed with COVID patients, and he almost died. He almost had a heart attack and died because of the unvaxxed patients. Well, first of all, the story was fake. It did not happen. Right. That guy did not get turned down by 40 some hospitals in Mississippi. But here's what made me sick about the entire thing. This guy wrote a story for NPR, which is not a small publication. Right? It's national/international in reach. Right. Okay. He wrote this story. I called and got a hold of him and I said, I need information about what the hospitals were. And you never list the person's name that this whole thing's about. And here's what he told me. And this is what made me fucking sick. I'm screaming at him on the phone when I'm doing it. He told me, I haven't talked to the family. Their name wasn't given. And we tried to reach out to a couple of the hospitals, but because of HIPAA, they won't give any information. I said, well, did you ask if, instead of specific about a specific person, what about the policy? And he goes, no, they don't think that way. That's the way I think, right? Well, if I can't get my answer this way, I want to get it another way, right? Is there another way to do it where I don't have to, violate HIPAA, in any way, shape, or form? Okay, so here's what he told me that pissed me off. He didn't have any information, because what he did is he wrote a story about what he watched on CNN because Anderson Cooper did that story. He got his information about a story on NPR from watching fucking CNN. That's not reporting. That's not journalism. If I knew that was a job option, that's what I would do. I would watch TV and write a story about it.
Right.
That's not journalism. Right. So
no, that's a TikToker. Like, really, at the end of the day,
that's exactly what we do. No fucking different. We take the information and interpret it. What we do is our teams look at everything. So I'm watching CNN, I'm watching MSNBC, we're watching the Washington Post, the Washington Times, New York Post, New York Times. We're reading everything. We're watching what's happening in Australia, what's happening in Israel, what's happening in Great Britain, France, Ireland, all the English-speaking countries around the world. We keep an eye on what's going on in those nations and what they're doing, all the little interactions that are going on. And this story that we keep being told by the left in particular, but by, and I'm going to call them the educated moronic elites that think that because they're an epidemiologist or that they're a virologist, that they know something more than we do. And that they're smarter than we are. And if you're a doctor or a scientist, there's no way that you can know what I do. Here's the thing. You can never research either. Well, and how can you possibly do research? Do you have a lab? No, I don't have a lab. I can read a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
You see, at the end of the day, if you're a doctor, if you're a scientist, especially a research scientist, if you're an epidemiologist, if you're a virologist, and you're doing research, what do you do at the end of the day? You compile all of your data and create a report. Right. I don't need to know how to fucking do your job to read the goddamn report, moron. Right? I don't need to know how to build an engine to drive the fucking car. And these are the kind of arguments that people don't know how to have anymore because they don't think that way. They get in this mode where they want to attack, and they don't come from an angle of, hey, dumbass, you haven't thought this all the way through, right? That's why I keep saying, and I go back to the reason that you're wrong, Tex, is that there's an agenda here.
Circle back there.
Right? I had to get that in one more time. There's an agenda here. We don't know what it is. Common citizens don't know what it is. We can only surmise. They're not going to stop pushing. OSHA just said, yeah, we realize that we can't do this the way that we were doing it, but we're still going to push it through.
Well, then you even got schools that are fighting to keep the mask mandates. School, like New York is well, fuck the Supreme Court. We don't care what they say. We're still going to. That's scary, you guys. Like that. That's scary that people are going against the Supreme Court and they're segregating now in schools.
Well, and here's the
I feel like our kids are the only ones that are still wearing these fucking things. Yeah, like for the most part.
The only people that are getting sick.
People did you see the new affected by COVID are the ones that have to have all the restrictions.
Well, and because it's about power, right? That's the only thing it's about. You tell me it's about health. When you tell a person you can't have a heart transplant because you won't get a goddamn vaccine. Yeah. That's not about health. Death sentence. You remember when they talked about the death squads in the single payer system? Oh, we never do that. They've just proven we can never have a single payer system in this fucking country.
Yeah.
Biden turns around and turns off the supply of monoclonal antibodies to Texas and to Florida because he's having a problem with those governors because they won't toe the line.
Yeah, what the hell is that with the antibodies thing that we've stopped? We've stopped doing that now?
Yeah, done. They've been pulled off their emergency use authorization. You can still get that with the vaccine, right? But you can't get a pre-treatment. You can't get a post-treatment. You have to take the fucking jab. That's why I say they're not relenting. They're not going to give up. They're not stopping. There's a reason they're doing this. We don't know what it is, but the best that I've heard so far is this. Former Navy SEAL, involved politically, and he says the game has been played. We have checkmate. We have all the information, right? the point that you made earlier about the elections is sad to hear because people have done that. They've moved on.
Mm-hmm.
But so has everybody else.
Yeah.
But the work behind the scenes has not stopped. These people in Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Georgia, what's the other one? There's one more. There's 6 of them. It'll come to me. They are they're still fighting, even though nobody's helping them, even though nobody's giving them any assistance. Right? If you want to fucking be a part of this, find out how you help in your state. If you live in one of those 6 states and you want to be a part of it, go find out how you be a part of it. Right? Contact these people. And if you really want to be a part of it, be a fucking pain in the ass. Show up at their goddamn office saying, I want to help take my country back. That's how you do it. I can't do it for you. Right. I can't volunteer your time for you. You have to stand up and say, I'm sick and tired of this shit. That's why I've taken the next year off. I'm not working for the next year. The 2022 election is the most important thing we have in our country right now.
Absolutely.
Finding out what happened in 2020 is the most important thing that we have in our country right now. Indicting and charging these people, or charging and indicting these people, and either having them go to jail or be executed for the crimes that they've committed against humanity. That's what has to happen this year.
Right.
I agree.
Oh, I'm sorry. You got to go voting over the weekend? Yep. That's more important? Yeah, fuck you. That's why I don't give any room for those people.
Not that I have to go voting. It's that I'm going picnicking that weekend. It's a Trump boat rally, but it's a Trump boat rally. Does that count?
No.
Yeah. Well, no, because it doesn't make
What
change.
Does Ant call them now? Trump concerts? Trump concerts. That's what Ant calls them. He's like, stop going to Trump concerts.
Okay. You know what is, let me see. All the people who took the time to make a video ripping off their Carhartt logo and either burning it, destroying it, or burning their Carhartt gear, right? They'll take time to go do that, but they won't take time to go to the local school board meeting.
Dude, and that drives me the most nuts because there's a million different options with school board, with school board meetings now. Like even the way that mine is structured, even if you're on Zoom, you raise your hand, you get to speak, whether it's in Zoom, in person. There's a million different options, especially when it comes to your school board. If you're not someone who's able to get the hell up and physically be somewhere, there's a million other things that you could. And I think that people don't understand that. Like it's everybody helping, from phone calls to letters to physically showing up to this, to this, to this, to this, to this. But if you're not, it's also not doing it for the right reasons though, because you have people that are like playing this game like it's something cool and trendy to do. Like revolution is so in this year, guys, and they're not taking it seriously on what we're trying to do and how to get there, if that makes sense. But like my school board meetings here, a couple of my friends like, why are you even going to those? You homeschool your kids. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Because my money still goes there. Because there's kids who are still there. There are parents who cannot afford to pull their kids right now. It was a luxury for me to be able to do it, and I damn well did it. And I'm still going to scream for those babies that are sitting in those desks with masks on, just because their parents don't want to do it for them, or they can't do it for them, or whatever the case may be.
Because if you don't show up, your kid will be reading porn in the library.
Yes.
Well, not and it might not
in the classroom. They'll be being taught it in the classroom, not even the library.
But that's the thing we got to realize too. Like those that don't have kids in the school district, your money still goes there.
Yep.
And you're talking about our future now.
Yep. Well, that's like Jen Rader. She doesn't have kids, and she went, like, she'll go with her neighbors to the school board meetings.
Yep.
Her money's still paying for it. Like, you can still care about what happens in your community, but it's like Kramer said, if it doesn't directly affect you, everyone's like, whatever, fuck it. But I mean, it's no sweat off my back.
Well, and here's what scares me is that what's going on in Canada. I'm all on board with what's going on in Canada.
Sure,
that's going to have a direct effect on our. That's going to have a direct effect on our store shelves here in the next 2 weeks. What they're doing there is going to have a direct.
It's already bad up in Michigan.
That's gonna. That's like we're already in Georgia too. I saw Brittany. Ironically, Brittany posted a video where there's nothing.
Nope. Rural stores are in the biggest trouble. If you're in a large city, you've still got pretty good choice, but it's bare shelves there as well. But you go to the rural stores, no meat, no bread. But you can get Valentine's Day candy. You can get booze. You can get
You
Coke.
know, I saw that
yeah.
at my
Lots of
program
awesome.
the other day. The Valentine's Day section was fat, but I couldn't
Jacked.
buy hamburger meat.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Well, and it reminds me of the videos and the pictures that we saw from Russia in the 1980s, the late 1970s, early 1980s. They were at the end of that process. You know, people don't understand or don't put it into context in the right way. Is that our government is not an entity unto itself. It is not a group of intelligent, well-meaning people that do our bidding. That's not who it is. It's our neighbors.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We just sold our home, and the neighbor at the old house was a former state legislator. Right. Now I like Dave. Dave's a nice guy. He's helped me from time to time. I've helped him from time to time. I don't want him in charge of my bills. Right. I definitely don't want him in charge of my yard. Right. So we've got to look at our government as who they are. They're not any smarter than we are.
Right.
I cannot say this loud
I
enough.
agree.
I'm gonna go back.
I was gonna say, like, because we're right at the end, and normally we give somebody like, what are your final thoughts? And that was kind of beautiful, but like we're at 10:30, so okay. I want you to leave with where you were going, because that was going to be like a really good little end sequence.
Well, they are not any better or any smarter than we are, right? I'm a college dropout. Bill Gates was a college dropout. Well, you're not Bill Gates. No, nobody's Bill Gates. Nobody is Steve Jobs, right? No one else is Elon Musk. But there are tons of people that, and the reason I say that about being a college dropout was there was a joke with a guy that I used to work with, this guy named Dave Decker, nicest guy on the planet, graduated from Notre Dame, and he always liked to bring that up, that he was another Notre Dame, graduate, and gave whatever it was, some special, laud, whatever. And I'd finally had it. And I go, Dave, I said, your boss is a college dropout. What does that tell you about this industry? It's talent that prevails. It's not your degree. Always. It's talent, right? Always. So I what I look at is what we have in the country is we have a group of people, and I started to talk about it earlier, is that these epidemiologists, these virologists, these doctors, these scientists that have gone along with this crime against humanity, they turn around and tell us, you're too stupid to understand what's going on. We're supposed to just keep our mouths shut and do what the experts say. And then all of a sudden the experts are wrong. And now they're saying, and this is no shit. Yes, the information that we had initially was correct. We didn't believe it could be possible because we didn't believe that we could make a mistake. That's what they're saying when they ask for forgiveness. Fauci's now saying, we got to live with the virus, right?
Right.
That's what we were saying a year ago. There's a way to do that. So I think that I'm an optimist, but I'm a pragmatist as well. And so what I do is I look at the big picture, what's most likely to happen, and how do I have to prepare? I am not optimistic about the 22 election. I'm going to work on it as if it's going to happen. We're going to move forward in that direction. But keeping my eye on the ball of what's happening on a daily basis. If Wisconsin just withdrew their electors, that's the beginning of it. Yeah. It goes back to what I was saying earlier about this Navy SEAL who mentioned that he says the game has already been played. Checkmate has already been realized. If you've played chess, right, you can know that you've lost way before you've lost. There's only so many moves you can make, right? Well, that's what these war games show us. These are the moves left available to them. How are they going to utilize their moves? And 3 of the 4 times they choose war.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to go to jail. They don't want to get shot. They don't want to be, tried for crimes against humanity. So as optimistic as I am, that's the pragmatic view, the realist view of human nature. Everything that I've put up on TikTok and social media is all based on 2 things: history and human nature. What have people done in the past, and what are people capable of doing to each other? What are they capable of justifying? And right now in this country, there's a group of people that 3 years ago would have said that what we did to the Japanese in World War II by interring them to protect us from potential threat by that group of people, that was wrong. Until they got fucking COVID. Then lock them all the fuck up.
Go figure.
That's where we are. And you cannot switch. You can't click that off. Their brain is running on fear right now. And I'll close with this. Everything that Hitler did was legal in Germany. All of it. Mm-hmm. Their laws had been modified. They had been tweaked. That everything that he did, every death that occurred in that country was legal within Germany.
Yeah.
It's important to understand that, right? The people that walked into those showers had no idea that was the last time that they would take a breath. Why? Because they didn't think it could get any worse than it was. That's why Americans aren't standing up, because it's not bad enough yet. Now, here's the thing. We see it happening in two places. That's why I brought up the rural issue. Mm-hmm. Rural communities, their stores are empty or close to empty, right? Affluent areas, I live in a rather affluent area, where everything's there. But if you go downtown to a Kroger or a Meijer in a depressed area, they're empty.
Yeah.
Right. So we are in a situation where, let's say, if what they told us in the last couple of weeks about, hey, expect a cyber attack, expect the grid to go down. What happens if the electricity goes off for just 2 days, 3 days, 4 days across the country?
A lot.
Especially right now when it's cold.
Charlotte?
Well, thank you,
right?
Charlotte.
How long?
One of those on here before. Feel kind of fancy.
Cool.
Kramer,
like
as always, we love having you. Come on, will you come on again?
Yes,
we'll come on again.
Yeah, I'm taking 2 weeks off for vacation, but we're gone. If I can, before we jump off of here, I just want to let everybody know that I'm not going to be back on TikTok for a while. So if you want to catch up with what we're doing and what
that's what I was going to say. Where can we follow you since you're off of TikTok now?
Twitter, Instagram, Getter, Telegram. We're going to be listing on, if you go to Telegram, it's Kramer Says Vids or Kramer Says Vids and Chat. One of those. I haven't quite figured out Telegram yet on how we're going to do all this. Discord, we're setting up a couple of servers. I'm working with another TikTok creator to get that taken care of. If you haven't signed up for Tusk, go get signed up for that. That'll help us out a lot. We're trying to get 100,000 people to be able to download it on one day. If you get 100,000 people or more, then it busts through and you end up at the top of the store. So we need that, as much help as we can get with that. Again, it's a free deal. And then with everything else that's happening, if you haven't checked out the website, there's another website that we're working with. It's called StopBenandJerry's.com. They're perpetrating BDS, which is boycott, divest, and sanction in the disputed territories of Israel. It's illegal. Unilever, their parent company, is being divested by states across the country. If you read about it, Illinois is one of the last ones to do it. New York just did it. Florida just did it. And so it's bringing attention to, again, liberals who say that what they're doing is in the best interest of somebody while they're also being anti-Semitic. So StopBenandJerry's.com. Right. So everybody says, I tore my Carhartt, thing off. Look at me. I'm a hero, right? You've got to be involved. We're involved right now within probably 15 to 20 different things that I find interesting, that I want more information on, people that I want to fight with, that I want as allies. And it's interesting to me that especially in social media on TikTok, and for the people that are here, they all know what's going on. We've got to stop fighting amongst each other. Right?
Yeah, I know.
It just got to stop. That shit's got to stop.
Even I'm admitting that now, and that's like what I love to do the most.
Well, I do too. I love debate. I love fighting, right? But
it's not debating anymore. It's like it's fighting now, and it's just kind of dangerous. All right, Kramer, we got to wrap it up. We're going too far over. I love your face. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. And until next time, guys.
See you Thursday.
Everybody. Bye.